love nice. Do you like mezcal?
What's one?
Have you tried mezcal? You should make your mom try
Do I have it
mezcal.
on home? He didn't show
So
it. I
nice.
mean, it's so nice in person. He's
Yeah.
really different.
Members of the media, friends and family, esteemed colleagues, it's a pleasure to have all of you, players, former players, mentors, advisors.
Hey everyone. I just wanted to first thank you for coming. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world. Lacrosse was my first love. I've been playing this game for 23 years and now 14 seasons professionally. Started with the MLL, NLL, internationally, and now with the Premier Lacrosse League. I vividly remember my mom dragging me to practice when I didn't want to go, and I would kick and scream, and that commitment really got me here today. We wouldn't be here, and she's here. And today, it comes with unending gratitude and the heaviest of hearts that I'll be retiring from professional lacrosse. And the decision was complex. And I'm going to share a few words with you today about how I got there and also talk a little bit about the future. But first, each of you. Without my family, loved ones, coaches, teammates, strength and conditioning coaches, ATCs, doctors, there's no championships. There are no lifelong memories. There are no season-ending losses. There are no devastating injuries and trades. There's no Premier Lacrosse League. So I wanted to give a few shout outs to start. My dad's game day emails. We called it our best streak in lacrosse. My brother used to run captain's practices my freshman year in high school. Coach Long, my high school coach who's here today, took over. And he's always been there for me and always been very direct in his advice to me, even a couple weeks ago, saying that this was going to be really hard and you're going to miss the game for 2 years. And I like that specific advice. It's always helpful for me. How long? 2 years. I took my official visit to Johns Hopkins with the captain of the team, Kyle Harrison, and then Coach Petramala led me from there, not just with the way that he coached and mentored me, but the way that he befriended me. My college roommates who are here today, consummate professionals like Pinnell, Schreiber, Boyle, Westervelt, Trevor, Romar, Tucker, Millen. My badass strength and conditioning coach who's been with me since college. It's 18 years together. Jay Dyer, and so many more. It's been my greatest honor to play the Native American game, Tehongtik Wahes. The game has been my teacher. Over the years, I've never passed up on a practice, and the results were in the work, and the work fulfilled me. I played with a chip on my shoulder. It served me well at times and unwell at others. I was always haunted more by the losses and the pain of losing, and the missed shots, the missed opportunities. They would feel like a dagger to my body. And on the counter, the wins felt less important. But I always went back to practice. And here's the secret when it comes to practice. It doesn't get easier. It actually gets harder. And practice is the bare minimum. And as you get older, you have to scratch, claw, and fight more and more and more. And it never stops until it does. I wanted to be as great as anyone who's ever played the game. And I let people know that, for better and for worse. But I wasn't about to say that without entering the arena with the giants of the sport. So I studied them, from Gary Gait to Dave Petramala, Kevin Alexander, Chris Hall, the Powells, Thompsons, Millen, Marichek, Boyle, Spallina, the great Jim Brown, and the legend Warren Lyons. And I found out I was never actually chasing you after all. You just inspired me. The lowest point in my career came in 2014. I was playing some of my best ball and on one of the best lacrosse teams to ever step on the field. And it was a US-Canada final played in the States. And many people in the US, for those that are here that remember, we were already setting up our after party before the final game. And we lost. And 1 week later, I returned to MLL action on a playoff berth game, and I broke my foot. And I was depressed. It was a devastating 6 months for me. And I think back to everyone that I've mentioned so far, and they were all huge parts of my climb back. Once my first love, lacrosse, was then my identity, and that's a dangerous place. I suffered with every loss and got too high with the wins and the stat lines. There was very little presence in my life, and I had to unlearn that. Lacrosse wasn't who I was anymore. It just became what I did. Perspective is what I learned. And I used to set goals in life around achieving greatness, and part of that process I shifted to setting what we call rebound goals, but how do you respond from pain, from loss, from injuries? If I could handle adversity well, then I would be less of an emotional roller coaster. I know that the only thing guaranteed in life is that we're all gonna get hurt. Tragedy, work-related incidents, injury, loss, regret, it's all hurt. But if you can handle getting hurt and respond, and most importantly, adapt, over and over again, it will get better. I thought about the part of the game that I'm gonna miss the most. It's the huddles. It's the pregame huddles. The huddle on the field after the team scores. The huddle on the field after you're scored on. The halftime huddle, a chance to reflect and respond. The post-game huddles. Those are what's unique to sports. Ask any professional athlete, ask any college athlete that at our level experiences a deeper connection because it's what we do. And that passion in those huddles can't be replicated anywhere. I'll miss that the most. And it took me to the final game this past season to learn this. It was never about the outcome. It was always about the game. The game is meant to be played, not won. And there is no winning as there is no end. So I'll continue to compete, win, lose, fall down, get up, sprint, fail, and get back up again. And now while you won't see me on the field anytime soon, I'm ready to continue to build on the progress we've made with the PLL. The future has never been brighter for lacrosse. This league will become the next major sports league in North America. I've never played against this much talent on the field in my life. The game's stars are the best players the game's ever had, and that's a great place to be in. And as part of my retirement, a debt that I owe to the game, I'm announcing a new endeavor as part of my ongoing work with the PLL and my commitment to the game's growth. And as we have these two goals symbolically behind me, it's called Goals for Greatness. And it's a commitment that I'm making to invest in resource goals in all 50 states across the country every year beginning in 2022. Thanks. My childhood memories consisted of local basketball hoops, tennis courts, baseball diamonds, soccer fields. Even as a pro, it's been hard to get access to a lacrosse net to practice on. So I want to change that. And my hope is that through this endeavor, more kids and adults can play lacrosse. And with lacrosse goals on fields nationwide, the world will soon have that same visual that I had growing up. And lacrosse will be there for them, but also they'll bear witness, maybe for the first time, of what lacrosse is. Recognizable, aspirational, and accessible. I'm so blessed that all of you all came today. I'm so grateful and thankful. I know I'll see you again on the sidelines soon, just in a different uniform. Thank you.
We will now open it up for questions, and we'll start with Joe.
When did you know you were ready to retire?
Mike and I have been deliberating on this for a while. I remember when we were building the PLL in 2018, we were having conversations around it. And a lot of it was tied to injury at the time. And we got to a place where 2020 was just really difficult. It was really hard on everyone. Coach Quirk, who's here today, is responsible for re-energizing me as a player.
Where do you think your greatest legacy in the game of lacrosse is, on the field or off?
It's always a difficult question to get. I'm humbled by the question. What I hope to do is play the game as hard as I can, as much passion as I can, and have that service my team, and then off the field service the community. And we've done it in different ways, and I think the PLL is the biggest and best way we've done it in my career. But hopefully there's a lot more to come.
How meaningful is it that this is happening here in DC?
It's super important to me and a bit emotional. This morning's been a roller coaster of a ride. To Joe's earlier question, we just didn't know how we were going to do this. It's a hard thing to do. I never would have ever expected to play in the league that I helped build. Thank you all very much.
So just quickly, I want to say, obviously, this is a big day for the Rabils, a big day for ball. It's also a big day for us as a league. And
Maybe 25. All right, 15. Congrats, brother.
The giant of the sport, Petro.
Just build off of that legacy,
Yeah.
of you
got the right
leading this team. And year one, we can come back to so many of those things. And that's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward, is how you led this team. So it's going to be pretty cool. So thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you, man.
All right.
All right. Safe travels back.
Soaked at this point, so it's probably alive. He actually had a chance at All-Star game, and then Nat fucked us.
But I've played with some of the greatest players in the world, and Jeremy Thompson and Lyle Thompson, and they've taught me a lot of the native ways of lacrosse, and that it is always happening. It is life. And you realize that when it ends. And it's ended for me on the field, but the game goes on.
And if you think about it, you know, in the way of like almost mythology, is that if it means that much to you, if it's a part of your life, the game goes on, and it's not about the endings of games or the endings of seasons. So that's where I've really tried to, you know, reflect as this retirement approached.
Well done, brother.
Bonito.
It's a wrap.
The wrap. I never would have thought
No more slashes.
that it was just going to be out.
No more limping.
Romar wanted me to drop the mic. I was like, that's not me.
Thank you. I didn't realize it was raining out here. Thank y'all for coming.
Oh my gosh.
How are you?
Oh my gosh.
By the way, NFL not the only sport to watch on Sunday here on NBC. We've also got the Premier Lacrosse League Championship pitting the Whip Snakes against Chaos. And ahead of the big game, we are joined by one of the greatest to ever play the game, Paul Rabil. He is also the co-founder of the Premier Lacrosse League. Paul, good morning to you. Good to see you in person.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Before we get to any of it,
Yep.
you just announced your retirement. After
did.
14 seasons, you've decided to hang it up. Why did you decide now is the time?
Well, it was a difficult decision, I think, for any athlete, unless you're Tom Brady. I saw the segment, he's going to play till he's 50. I've been playing for 23 years, domestically and internationally. Fortunate to have co-founded the league, so I have my next chapter. But I think in all decisions in life, we have to kind of weigh them and make that difficult choice and move on. And that was it for me.
Oh, now you're spreading the word to the next generation. You started when you were 12 years old. What are you hoping people take away now that they're kind of watching lacrosse and getting into it?
Yeah, participation growth is up. The International Olympic Committee just gave full membership to lacrosse. We're on the path for the Olympics for 2028. And a big initiative for me, as I announced after my retirement, is one called Goals for Greatness. So I struggled getting access to goals on field. I had lacrosse stick and ball, but you couldn't complete the experience. So my commitment as part of leaving the game is to put goals on field in all 50 states beginning next year and then internationally in 2023.
Come on, the Whip Snakes or Chaos?
Well, technically as a co-founder, I can't tell you that. But the Whips have won the last 2 years, so they're chasing Dynasty, and then Chaos lost last year to them in the final.
Okay. All right.
Good,
Congrats
good
again.
names,
Thank you.
too, by the way.
Thank you all.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
Paul.
And again, you can catch the excitement of the Premier Lacrosse League Championship this Sunday, noon Eastern, only on NBC.
How do the Whip Snakes ever lose?
Thank you. Hey, congrats on everything. Thanks for stopping by. We really, really appreciate it. Enjoy this weekend. We'll be watching.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah. Oh my God. Smith name is the smartest person you know under 40.
General, Amazon gets.
Only one will claim the crown. We welcome you to the Premier Lacrosse League Championship game on NBC, powered by Ticketmaster. This afternoon at Audi Field in our nation's capital, Whip Snakes and Chaos play for the PLL title.